All right, here's something that I'm glad you're on today, filling in, TJ, for real, because you were a former NFL wide receiver. You had success. You were a Pro Bowler, the whole 9 yards. You know the game. You know the position. I just cover it, okay? You've been out there. I used to watch Randy Moss because I covered the Lions. I covered every Lions game for essentially 20 years, TJ. So I saw Randy Moss play twice, right, every year when he was in Minnesota. And I thought he was an unbelievable receiver. I saw T.O. play, another tremendous receiver, two of the best that I've ever seen. But I also old enough that I saw Jerry Rice play. Not watching YouTube, but I saw him in covered games he played in. And I think Jerry Rice is the greatest receiver who's ever played football. He has all the statistics. He was on championship teams. He won MVPs, everything. And yet Randy Moss came out and said that he is the best receiver. T.O. is second, and Jerry Rice is third or fourth. Let's listen first to Randy Moss.
You talking to him
already? Okay. So
I put myself first. I'll put T.O. second, and I think Jerry's probably third or fourth. I'm talking about dominating the game and changing the game of football. I don't live on statistics, because if you live on statistics and live on championships, that's all political. You've seen guys released or cut from a team just by a couple words in the media. You've seen guys given contracts, or you've seen guys not given contract just because the color of their skin. So I think that you gotta throw politics out of the game of football and look at the impact of what each individual was able to make in the game of football.
All right. So, TJ, before you jump in, because I can't wait to hear your take, Jerry Rice responded.
It was not about me being the GOAT. I don't care if I'm the one, the second, or the third receiver. It was all about me winning Super Bowls for the city of San Francisco, my teammates, and my family. I was able to win 3 Super Bowls. I was an MVP. I pretty much hold every record right now. And, he continues to say it's political or whatever. But if Randy wants to be number one, that's fine. There are so many GOATs. If T.O. wants to be number 2, that's fine. But my main thing is it was all about the rings, the championships.
Yep.
And that's why we play the game.
TJ, your take.
I mean, I like Jerry Rice's response. I mean, it's tough because Moss, he should feel that way. And if I'm not mistaken, it was on T.O.'s podcast.
Yes.
And so that's why he said T.O. was second. But those 3 guys are the top 3 receivers to ever play. And however you want to rank them, you rank them. But Moss should feel that he's the best. Now, the political stuff, I don't know how playing football and putting up stats gets political.
Thank you.
I don't get that. But I also, anybody that's played football knows where you're drafted determines how you go down in history. Jerry Rice was lucky enough to be drafted to the 49ers, that they're going to win Super Bowls, and they did win Super Bowls. And you play with Joe Montana and Steve Young, 2 Hall of Fame. How many guys could say during the prime of their careers that they played with those 2 as quarterbacks? And so you can take your pick. If you ask me, Randy Moss was more talented, but Jerry Rice was a better overall receiver just because he did it longer, and mentally he was engaged his entire career, whereas Moss admitted, I play when I want to play. And
you remember when he was with the Raiders, he stopped playing.
Yeah, but he was frustrated because they were losing. And so being a good player physically plays a part, but you got to be a good player mentally as well. And so Jerry Rice was that all the time. And that's why, to me, it's Jerry Rice. But Moss is by far and away the most talented guy to play because he could stretch the field. He was so tall and he could run, and guys were afraid of him right off top because you didn't want him to run by you, and he still ran by you. And so, but the political comment, I'm lost on that one. I don't know how that comes into to the game at all, or to even to the discussion, because the coaches are going to try to get Moss the ball all the time, as they were with Jerry Rice and T.O.
See, I'm with you. I think that's where he loses me, to say that if you're into statistics or if you're into Super Bowls or whatever. Like, what do you mean if you're into it? That is why we play, right? That's why.
But the political point of it, I don't get. But Jerry Rice he was lucky enough to be drafted to the 49ers. And they were going to win Super Bowls. And the Minnesota Vikings, they were not. And that's just what it is.
But they were 15-1. No, it's not automatic
until
that you weren't going to win.
Until they ran into them Falcons, right?
No, but right. And who was the kicker who made every kick that year except for the one? You remember that, TJ?
Yeah, I do remember that. I was younger, but I do remember that.
That was the one kick he missed all year, and it cost him. But my point is, just because Jerry Rice went to the 49ers didn't mean that he automatically was going to win. Because T.O. played for the 49ers. He never won. He played for the Cowboys. He never won. So you can't just say, oh, well, they played for a better organization, so they were going to win. And then the other part is Jerry Rice's longevity and the numbers. He leads in every category.
And he's going to lead because of what you just said. The longevity and the amount of years he played, nobody's catching him. The closest would be probably Larry Fitzgerald, and he's not going to catch him.
No,
Jerry Rice played forever. I don't see that record ever being broken at all, ever.
See, when I look at all of the things put together, and I'm talking about winning, like whenever I argue about Joe Montana, here's another part, and I'm just getting off to a side to explain what I'm saying. When people talk about Joe Montana, they always say the same thing. Well, yeah, Jerry Rice. Well, of course, he was 4-0 in the Super Bowl. But Joe Montana, when you look at his resume, and TJ, it's as complete a resume as you can have. 4-0 in the Super Bowls, 11 touchdowns, no picks. He won 2 Super Bowls with Jerry Rice. He won 2 Super Bowls without Jerry Rice. He also won 3 MVPs, and 2 of the 4 Super Bowls, he had to throw a touchdown to win the game, not set up a field goal, where you have to get a touchdown. So I don't like when I look at him. But when I look at Jerry Rice, it's the same thing. Where is the blemish or the weakness in his resume? Because it's one thing to play a long time, and it's another thing to be productive for a long time, which Jerry Rice was, and he won. To me, he's the best receiver, and that's not a knock on T.O., and that's not a knock on Randy Moss. It isn't. And the one year that Randy Moss was on that great team, the 18-0 Patriots, what happened, TJ? They lost.
They did lose, yes.
So, right? They lost.
It was one of those things where everybody expected them to win. They didn't win, and that was Moss's best and last opportunity to get that Super Bowl. But again, if I'm Jerry Rice, I think I'm the best. If I'm Randy Moss, I think I'm the best. If I T.O., I think I'm TJ, and I think I'm the best. And so you should feel that way. Those guys have genuine.
Okay, let me stop you. You think you're the best, and I get that as a player. Everybody should. I don't care if you make it to that level.
But Moss has a legit claim to really feel that way. He's that good.
But you feel like you're the best, but you're not the best receiver who ever played in the NFL.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like if I was put in different situations, come into the league a different way.
That you might have been able to.
Yes, and that's just how I feel. But Moss, genuinely, when you say, who's the best receivers to ever play? Oh, his name is going to be brought up. Like, he was that talented. But Jerry Rice not only did it physically, he did it mentally.
But here's the other thing. He poo-poos Jerry Rice's career. Let's be honest, TJ. He says, well, he might be fourth. He might be fourth or fifth. What did he say? Third or fourth?
Third or fourth.
Now, really? He's third or fourth? Do you buy that?
No, but a lot of people try to. Jerry Rice played with Joe Montana and Steve Young. That's the argument that they that they come with, and I played with this guy
Dante
and that
Culpepper.
guy. Yeah, and so that's
Randall Cunningham. They were 15-1. Do you remember that was Black America's team? Dennis Green was the coach. They had a black quarterback in Randall Cunningham. They had Randy Moss, Chris Carter. You remember that team?
I do remember that team. I do. They were one of the better offensive teams, and kind of like what happened with New England. They came up short. They didn't even get to the Super Bowl.
No. They ran into the Falcons, right? Isn't that what it was?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it just rubs me the wrong way. I'm not saying I love watching Randy Moss. I just told you. I watched him all the time. And he's a great player. I used to see him make plays I couldn't even believe. He used to kill the Lions, as you can imagine, when I watched him. All right, so was Randy Moss out of line for saying that Jerry Rice isn't the greatest wide receiver in NFL history? We want to hear from you.
Well, we're going to find out what the viewers think. Mark, you're on the Odd Couple in Sacramento. What's up?
What's going on, gentlemen? Jay. Merry Christmas, TJ. Welcome aboard, man. It's good to hear your voice.
What's
Same
up,
to
Mark?
you, Rob.
Thank you, buddy.
Same to you. Don't worry, Chris left you, but I'm not going to leave you this Christmas week,
No.
brother. I'm with you.
For the next 2 weeks, man, you know I need you, all right?
I'm here for you, Rob. You know that, brother.
All right. What do you think of Randy Moss?
I think he done lost his damn mind. To put Jerry Rice third. I think you guys also forget Jerry Rice went across the bay, me being a Raider fan. He went across the bay and helped Rich Gannon win an MVP. So
He
Jerry
went to the Northwest, too. I remember that as well.
Yeah, just so. And Randy Moss quit on the Raiders. You can't be no greatest of all time
Right.
and quit on the team. He quit, man. I'm a Raider fan. He quit on us, bruh. He
No
quit
doubt.
on us. So
That's a great point.
That's how I feel. So you guys have a good holidays. And don't worry, Rob, I'm with you. I'm with
All
you,
right.
brother.
Merry Christmas, Mark. Appreciate it. 877-99 on Fox. We got some more, TJ?
We got some more callers. David in Lincoln, Nebraska on the Odd Couple. Talk to us.
Hey, what's up, my family? I haven't met yet, Rob. How you doing? Hey, I'm here for you too, just like Mark. I know Chris, man. He can't work 40 hours. We all
No,
get
you
it,
know
but,
that. You know I'm always here, David, but I appreciate
No,
you.
I know you are, and you filling in on other shows and
Yes.
doing weekend stuff, man. You
Matter
my
of
man,
fact,
Rob. You know.
I'm filling in for Dan Patrick on. Is that me and you, TJ, on Christmas Eve?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, TJ and I are both working on the Dan Patrick show Christmas Eve. Just the FYI.
Well, I knew you'd be in for Dan, man. I know you got to cover their bases too, man. But I'll be listening. But look, man, I'll be brief here. What'd you say, Meshuggah? Yeah, whatever that means. Yeah, that's what that dude is. First of all, this argument that just because Jerry Rice went to the 49ers, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Jonathan Taylor played for the 49ers too. I didn't see him playing 15 years, and he was in his prime and breaking all these
filling all the
records. So
stats right.
He wasn't as talented. You got to have the talent now. You got to have the talent.
That's you're making my point. That's exactly right. There's plenty of great receivers that have played with great quarterbacks and haven't come close to accomplishing anything that Jerry Rice did. This is just Moss's way of trying to deflect the attention, bringing up politics. I don't even know what that means.
Right.
Deflect the attention away from the fact that he didn't win. You didn't win, bro. You quit on your teams. You admitted you played when you wanted to. You had the physical skills to be the greatest that ever did it, but you didn't have the drive. You didn't have the work ethic, and you didn't win, bro. So, you know what? Think whatever you want. Jerry Rice is the greatest ever. I'll be talking to you, Rob. Thanks, brother.
Yes, sir. Great call there, David. He laid it out, TJ.
We got another one for you.
All right.
See what Sean up in Sacramento, what you got to say on the Odd Couple?
My uncle from another mother, and the Up On Game radio show doing a little primetime appearance with TJ, man. I'll be hearing y'all on the weekend holding it down, brother.
Appreciate you, man.
So, yeah, my take real quick is I don't care what none of these gray beards is talking about, man. If you just watch the two play, the most dominating wide receiver of all time, speed, talent, everything else, is Randy Moss. He's the only wide receiver that has a verb named after him and is still used, 5 years after he retired? You got to show the man his respect. Oh, stick 'em hands, Jerry Rice. I get that you got the rings, brother, but you also had two Hall of Famers throwing you the ball. Look at what Randy had. Can anybody name any other quarterback out there besides Tom Brady?
Now this is one of those prisoner of the moment because because you're a young cat. Come on, man.
Neither
You're
one
trying
of
to
them
tell me.
played neither
wait
one
a
of them
minute.
played
You're
the
telling
last
me
5 years, man.
winning Super Bowls don't matter, and he has all the statistics to say that he's the third or fourth receiver. You think Randy Moss is right?
This coming from my uncle who doesn't call Tom Brady the best of all time because
He's not.
he has.
Tom Brady didn't
Come
even
on,
make the
man.
Pro Bowl this year. What
Like you said.
happened?
Like you said, it's the eye test, man. You've seen Randy Moss catch balls over 4 or 5 defenders at all times, man. When he went to Florida State for a cup of coffee and a sweet roll, they were calling him the best thing they've seen ever, man. But because of politics, because he smoked a couple joints here and there, he got kicked out of school. He kept getting banished from the NFL from whatever team. And the Raiders didn't do anything to put anybody around him to help him win. You got to look at the man's character.
And why didn't he win with the
court.
Patriots? They were 18-0. What happened, Lucy? Why didn't he win?
Hey, the biggest, the luckiest of all
Radio
time
silence.
didn't get lucky that game, man.
Radio silence. I don't remember him having a big game. I remember them only scoring. What did they score in that Super Bowl, TJ? 14 points?
Man, that Giants defense showed up.
Man, you know what? If you remember that year, the Patriots were averaging 35 points a game, and they got 14 in the Super Bowl with Randy Moss, with Tom Brady, who threw 50 touchdowns that year. Let's not act like that didn't happen. Man, you got me worked up. All right. I'm sorry. It is the odd couple, Rob Parker and TJ Houshmandzadeh. Do we have LeVar?
I mean, if you want to,
All
I'll
right.
do it.
I just wasn't sure. I'm sorry, but it is LeVar Arrington, the former Pro Bowl linebacker and FS1 NFL analyst, and, of course, co-host of Up On Game Saturdays on Fox Sports Radio. TJ and Plaxico Burress are also the host on the show. Welcome to the show, LeVar.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me on.
No doubt. And I'm up in arms because Randy Moss said that Jerry Rice is the third or fourth best receiver ever. And Jerry Rice's resume is unblemished. What didn't this man do? MVP. He won Super Bowls. He has all the records. Is Randy Moss crazy?
Coming from Randy Moss, I won't say it's crazy, but it's not accurate.
Tell me why. Tell me why Jerry Rice is the best.
I think Jerry Rice is the greatest football player of all time.
Wow.
And the reason I think it is because one thing about greatness, you can be good for a season. You can be good for a time. But when you're able to look at and measure greatness for an extended amount of time, and he was great. He was greater for longer than any other player that has ever played this game. So, I think that is a foregone conclusion that when you look at Jerry Rice, he's the greatest football player of all time.
So watching this Monday night football game, your hometown Pittsburgh Steelers look like they are playing – well, they don't look like it. They're playing uninspired football. Mm-hmm. What happens when a team that has started so well and it looks like they're on a road to losing 3 straight when many were picking them as probably a team that could challenge the Chiefs? How does this happen?
Yeah, I was one of those guys. And speaking of the Steelers, shouts out to Kevin Green and his family. Big heartbreaker. I knew him very well, and that one hurt and came unexpected. Prayers to him and his family. When you look at where the Steelers are right now, they've had to overcome so many injuries to this team that I wouldn't be shocked to see a team take steps back the way that they did based off of not having guys healthy. But with that being said, there's no excuses. Everybody has injuries, and everybody has to go into games knowing that you got to win what you have. I mean, you look at what Patrick Mahomes did. He doesn't have his line, and he's still finding ways to win. So why they've kind of taken a tailspin the way that they did, I really wouldn't be able to pinpoint it unless I was closer to the situation. But I still think that they're a competitive team, and if they're going to be the competitive team that they have been, getting to the record that they got to, all the way up to this slide, they're going to have to step it up, and they're going to have to figure out how to find their winning ways and figure it out quickly.
Our guest is LeVar Arrington from, of course, the NFL analyst from FS1, and also with the new radio show and podcast called Up on Game with TJ Houshmandzadeh and Plaxico Burress here on Fox Sports Radio. The Pro Bowlers came out for the quarterbacks in the NFC, and it was Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, and Kyler Murray. Did Kyler Murray beat out Tom Brady, who has 32 touchdowns, 11 interceptions on the season?
I mean, I think that Kyler Murray is an exciting new breed quarterback. And I don't know that you could go wrong between taking Kyler or taking Tom Brady. I think both of them had comparable seasons in terms of winning, in terms of production. So if you took Tom Brady, some might argue that you took Tom because he's a GOAT. If you take Kyler, you might argue.
But he's having a great year. It's not like he's playing terrible.
But here's my only thing, though. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me say this, and then I want to hear from you guys. But Tom Brady has all these weapons, but the numbers aren't eye-popping. If you really take a real honest look, they've struggled sometimes offensively, even with all the weapons that they have in Tampa Bay. No?
I think that's overstated sometimes.
He's fifth in the league in passing yards.
Yeah,
32 touchdowns.
11 picks.
He's done well. And he's done well in some big games. I mean, he did well in that New Orleans game, and that defense is not a game. And so people say he can't throw downfield. He has thrown downfield. So I mean, I just think that if you want to malign him, then go ahead and crown him with that. But I just think that it's not a hard discussion or debate if you're saying I'm going to choose one versus the other. I think you can come up with great arguments for both guys.
Real quick, we're talking quarterbacks, and for some odd reason, the MVP has turned into who's the best quarterback in the league. Who's MVP of the NFL? Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes. It seems to be a two-man race. The way Derrick Henry is playing, he should have put himself in the mix, but again, it seems to be a quarterback-only award.
It does seem that, yep.
It's definitely historically a quarterback-driven award, even though other guys have gotten it. But if I'm looking at who's getting it right now, it's still Aaron Rodgers to lose, but Patrick Mahomes erased those turnover games that took him out of the running, and I think he's put himself back into the running where if Aaron Rodgers has any slip-ups, Pat Mahomes is going to go ahead and take it.
Here's my thing. Does Aaron Rodgers not get extra credit from the standpoint that Mahomes has a ton of weapons? It's not to take anything away from what he's able to do, but Aaron Rodgers played 3 games without Devontae Adams, 3 games without Aaron Jones. I mean, when you look at that and the numbers, he has 40 touchdowns, the first quarterback ever to have 40 or more in 3 different seasons, which is mind-boggling, which I would have thought other quarterbacks would have done that. When you look at what he's been able to do, does that not tell you how valuable he is, LeVar?
No, I think you certainly realize how valuable Aaron Rodgers is. And that's why I think he is the front runner for a lot of the things that you just said. And he doesn't turn the ball over as much as some of these other quarterbacks.
That's incredible. That's probably the most unbelievable thing to throw the ball that much.
He does not give it away.
So when you look at that aspect of it, those are the biggest discussion points when you talk about Russ and as of late when you talk about Patrick Mahomes. But I think what Patrick Mahomes was able to do against New Orleans, I mean, he frustrated them so bad that your boy Cam just went ahead and punched the dude upside the head. He didn't punch him because the dude was over blocking him and being dirty. He punched him in the head because he was frustrated. And I've been there before. Like, it's like you do everything you can possibly humanly, physically do and the dude still finds a way to make you look bad. So I think he did a lot for his argument points for that MVP spot, but we'll have to wait and see.
All right, we got 30 seconds. Tell us about the radio show Up On Game and why we should listen.
Well, I mean, it's all athletes running it. You know, like I always say, we don't have any babysitters. You know, nobody is directing traffic. It's just us talking real issues and just coming from the hip. You know, just like we would be sitting in the locker room or we're sitting at a barbecue, whatever it may be. And I think it's much needed. I think it's a breath of fresh air, and it might be a turn for, you know, what the trend could be in terms of there being a market for all former athlete driven shows.
So that's it. You want to push me off the air? That's okay. I got it.
No. I didn't say you were a babysitter. You're industry. You're industry. You know, you're not like a hardcore radio guy.
No doubt.
Yeah.
All right, LeVar Arrington.
But if the shoe fits, put it on, right?
I understand. Is it a size 11 Jordans? I'll wear them. All right,
I
LeVar
know you
Arrington.
be getting your shoes.
You know it. Thanks for joining us here on The Odd Couple, and catch them on Saturday. Absolutely. Up On Game with TJ and Plaxico Burress as well.